What's good, everybody? My name's Mike. This is the Chatter After Daily, and we are joining a recording halfway through. If you missed the first half of this conversation where we talked about Superman, Batman, everything going on with the DC universe, and how we'd like to see them approach those characters going forward, click the link right up here in the top right corner of the screen, or if you're in the podcast feed, it is in the description down below. But yeah, we're talking Wonder Woman in this episode, strictly Wonder Woman, and we are going to touch on a couple other Justice Leaguers a little later towards the end of the video. Until next time, bye. You mentioned earlier that you're not the biggest Wonder Woman fan, but the movie still won you over. What? How
So
would you
I like
approach the character this time?
yeah I not I like the like I read Wonder Woman Earth 1 and that was cool.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the Wonder Woman movie. I enjoyed Gal Gadot. I did not like 84. Um,
fair. Most people didn't.
I just want them to go full blown mythological with Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
Like just dive into Zeus, all the Greek gods, and like do that whole thing. I want that. If we're gonna do Wonder Woman again, do that. There's no reason why she needs to be held back by humanity. Make her Wonder Woman. She is a
yeah.
mythological figure come to life. Do the whole thing.
Wonder Woman to me is the most. She has the most potential out of all of them.
Yeah.
Because as much as I love what Johns, Jenkins, and Snyder did with Wonder Woman, in 2017, one of the biggest missteps for me was killing the entire Greek pantheon before the movie starts. And like that franchise established that Ares was the last of the gods, and I feel like there's no reason to put yourself in a corner like that. Embrace it. Embrace the Greek mythology, right? Like you can have her. One thing I loved about Justice League Unlimited, spoilers for a 20-year-old show, I guess, is that they hint that Ares is her father in that universe, right? Which is a drastic departure from every other version of Wonder Woman. And you can even argue if that's canon in that show because they never really follow up on it. But like that idea that she does come from that pantheon, right? As an Amazon created by Zeus, brought to life by Zeus and Hippolyta. There's so much you can do, right? With that, and that opens up a new side of the DC universe that we've never really seen on film before. We saw Ares in the
Yeah.
first movie, and then that was it. It was over with. But I want them to we did an episode on God of War Ragnarok, right? I want that for Wonder Woman. I want her
Yes.
to
Yes.
deal with
To be
the
our
gods,
avenue into that
right?
mythological aspect of the DC universe. Yeah.
Because Zeus is, going off of her newer origin in the New 52, Zeus is her father, right? Which means Heracles is her brother. Why don't we make that a team up movie where Wonder Woman is with Hercules, right? Or Wonder Woman is fighting Circe or Ares, or trying to stop, or like we have her go through the challenges that Hercules went through, right? And we can spin the mythology that way to make her the focal point.
Do Clash of the Titans with Wonder Woman.
Right. One thing I really liked about, you can even go somewhere else with it, right? I really liked about like the new DC animated movies. We had that Justice Society movie where Barry goes back in time and he meets the JSA, and Diana is with the first generation of superheroes, and it's like take advantage of her existing throughout time, not just we're in the 80s and it's fun like Wonder Woman 84 did, but be like, hey, no, she knows Jay Garrick. She's worked with Jay Garrick for 60 years. And that could even tie back into her in the Justice League. She's like, hey, we're going to do this again because last time, whatever happened, like Ares attacked and we couldn't stop it. Now Darkseid's attacking and she's on the new Justice League. That could be a really fun story thread for her. That's just how I would approach the character, like embracing that mythological aspect, like you said.
I like the idea of having a Wonder Woman that has baggage, not necessarily because she's made mistakes, but
Mm.
because she has experienced and seen stuff because of how long she's been around.
Right.
I like that idea. Now I'm gonna flip it.
Go for it.
What if we just do a Wonder Girl movie?
So the question I toss back at you: which Wonder Girl do we do? We've got
Ah,
Cass, we've got Donna, and we've got Floor, right? The new one that's recent.
I would say whichever relates the most with Dick.
Donna's
Just for the
fine.
sake, yeah. So there's why wouldn't we just go that route? In similar and like in terms of, because the way I see it, whether it makes sense or not,
Mm,
I just see that the quickest and most interesting way to quickly expand the universe while
yeah.
still reaffirming the characters that we want to see. Like, we do want to see Wonder Woman. We do want to see Batman. We do want to see Superman. I'm not telling you that Superman's going to be married by the end of the first movie. You know what I mean? And Lois is like already pregnant. You know what I mean? Like with Jonathan. Right. That's not what I'm trying to say. But these are characters that have been with these main heroes for years that can develop independently from the main heroes that they stem from, right? So, I don't know. Maybe we show Wonder Woman in a different fashion, as we do, not necessarily like Wonder Woman and Wonder Girl, but like Wonder Woman is with Donna in the Isle of Man. And like and because she's been with the JSA or other heroes in the past and stuff like that, we're just seeing her be a mentor as opposed to just be a symbol. And I just like the idea of seeing these hero characters in different roles as opposed to just being the hero and that's it.
Right.
Like, because there's so much more to these characters than just being the main hero and that's it. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah. So I I love that idea. I love that approach. I also have you read Brian Azzarello's Wonder Woman run from the New 52?
I have not.
Check it out because that is the one that really said, you know what, we're going to take advantage of Wonder Woman's history and we're going to dive into those mythological aspects that you're probably looking for. So I think you'd really enjoy that run. But yeah, Wonder Woman's the Wonder family is they don't get as much shine as the Flash family or the Bat family in DC Comics. So it would actually be unique for Wonder Woman as a character to embrace that sisterhood, right, of the Amazons, which is a theme that they always play with, but she also never hangs out with Donna Troy very often. So it's like
Right.
having them united in a Wonder Woman film, I think would be really cool. I don't know, like it'd be really hard. I think Wonder Woman might be the hardest one to do if for my small brain, who's not, a movie director but
Right.
I feel like Wonder Woman 2017 was such a great introduction to that character. But then Wonder Woman 84 was such a big fumble for that character. It's like I don't know where I would
It
even
was like a step back as opposed
major
to a step
step back.
forward. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like I feel like the first film's tone was so perfect. I wouldn't want to mess with it too much. So I might just embrace what they did with that first Wonder Woman film as far as tonally, as far as the costume, right? Because I don't know, like, how do you improve that iteration of the character? At least
I don't know why, but I feel that that's kind of when we go back to the original topic, right? Like,
yeah,
what actually remains as part of the new DCU, like what actually remains as part of the main canon, like, because if you were to ask me what is one of the main parts of the DCU canon that I would like to keep, is definitely the societal aspects that were introduced in Wonder Woman.
yeah.
Like, I loved the name of the city. Don't tell me. The name of the island. Themyscira. I love Themyscira in Wonder Woman 2017. I love her relationship with Robin Wright's commander character and Hippolyta. And, like, I love all those relationships and the idea of these strong women living a complete life for themselves in this corner of the world that nobody knew about. You know what I mean? I like that. Like, do we toss that away when that's one of the things that most worked of the entire DCEU, I would even say? Because the world build, like, one of the strongest points of the 2017 Wonder Woman is that the world building is fascinating.
Yeah.
Which is why '84 was such a departure because you only spent a little bit of time there, and then you kind of like,
Yeah.
I mean, you still go back, but it's not as strong as, you know what I mean? I kind of feel that the strongest parts in Themyscira were Wonder Woman 2017 and then Justice League, especially the Snyder's Cut.
Because the
But yeah,
world building stopped in '84. Like the world, it very much felt like the world has been built. So it's like, you've been here before. Let's move on. Whereas I feel like as fans, we wanted them to expand them.
There's more there. Right.
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 Kind of like, again, going back to our Ragnarok conversation that you guys should totally check out. That takes everything we know about the Nine Realms and expands it. And it's new, it's different, it's familiar, but it's also still a level of intrigue there. Whereas '84 was just like, you guys know Themyscira. This is Themyscira. Let's move on.
Right. So I have no problem if they. Now let me ask you this, because I have thoughts. I don't want to talk when we talk Flash. I have a particular desire because I don't know.
What gave it away?
Yeah, right. Thinking about the current movie,
Yeah,
and some of the things that we know are happening in the movie, right? So would you be against having another situation where the Justice League is introduced, as in the individual members of the league are introduced in a Justice League movie? Because part of me, like, I think we're past the idea of let's try and be Marvel and introduce everyone individually and put them together. I think we're past that.
mm-hmm.
I figure we're at that point where if we're going to do a Justice League movie, let's just do it. If people are meeting heroes for the first time here, let's just do it. But let's just do it right. You know what I mean? So if we have a Justice League movie that's going to include heroes that we know, and then we have another Justice and has heroes that we don't know that we're meeting at the same time, I mean, I don't see how that would be a bad idea. Because if you have the Trinity as main members of the League, that's your anchor. As long as you have those three characters, or at least Batman and Superman, in that team, you can introduce three other members that nobody's ever seen before. And they can be the focal point because you know what? You know what Batman's about. You know what Superman's about. So it's all about finding ways of making these three other crew members shine. And if you make him shine, the movie can work.
Yeah, 100%. That's why I even threw out the idea earlier during the Batman conversation of Batman doesn't even need movies because one, he's already got a running franchise, but two, we all know who he is. And I feel like that's the perfect way to go about it. I think Superman at least needs a movie, but everyone else, Wonder Woman probably can just be introduced in Justice League, right? Because we know that character now. And again, 2017's film was so good and so beloved. We don't need to retell that origin. You can just say Steve Trevor blew up in that plane, '84 never happened, and just carry on if you want to.
Yes.
But that does raise a slightly different question of if they were to do that, who would the other characters be around them, right? We have our three anchors plus the Flash. We have our four anchors. Who are the other three characters that you would even add to the league?
I mean, you have to have Martian Manhunter, which in my opinion, he really only works in team-up movies or Justice League movies. Yeah. I don't know why, but I have a hard time seeing him work in a solo film just for him. I don't see it working.
Even his comic books, they're okay, but he's one of those characters that's much stronger as part of the team.
Yeah. Morely because he's one of those heart of the team characters, right? Because it's the whole alien with all this humanity behind him. You know what I mean? Because of the years that he's been living within humans. That's kind of one of the anchors for that character. So definitely Martian Manhunter. Hawkgirl, not Hawkman.
Shayera.
I would definitely do Hawkgirl. And bring Ollie back. I don't care. He's not Hawkeye. He's a completely different character. And bring uber politic left field Ollie. You know what I mean?
You want
Like,
you want a Green Arrow that will make Ben Shapiro tweet like 20 million times about it. That's what you want to do.
yes, yes. No, I want an Oliver Queen that is all about the little man. That it's all
Yeah,
about the Robin Hood aspect of Oliver Queen, right?
yeah,
Where he is this rich person that everything he's doing is to make people's lives better. And he's against because the whole thing that makes that particular because we've already seen Dark Oliver Queen. And
right.
whether you like it or not, I'm gonna say it, he was almost done to perfection by Stephen Amell. I mean,
Yeah,
his take on Oliver Queen was just great. And whether we liked it the way his story ended doesn't matter. His run as Green Arrow in that show was overall excellent. So we don't need to see that again because in a way,
especially
one of the
having
things
him
that
next to Batman, right?
it's especially when his exactly, especially when he's Green Arrow was kind of a Batman fusion because they couldn't do Batman
Right.
because but it works so well. We need a Green Arrow that's more comic book Green Arrow. He's a smart mouth. He's a badass. He's an asshole because he is of the opposite to Bruce Wayne. Like he is this troubled soul, right? But he's rich or whatever. But Sin is the one that doesn't shut up. He sees something wrong, he's gonna tell it to your face, and that actually carries through his persona as the Green Arrow. Like so, I kind of want that to be our Green Arrow. And of course, with Green Arrow, we have Black Canary, or even if we don't include Hawk Girl, if we put Green Arrow, if Green Arrow was a character that was going to have a movie for himself, it shouldn't be
Yeah.
just Green Arrow. It should be Green Arrow and Black Canary. It should be the both.
Yeah. You know,
I don't know why, but I'm sorry. I'll shut up now. But I don't know why, but I have a feeling that one of the biggest things I kind of noticed as I talking to you, I want them to not waste time anymore.
yeah.
Like there are smart ways of presenting multiple characters together without it feeling crowded. I kind of want them to be smart in that direction. Not everything
So,
has to be just one hero per. Does that make sense? I
yeah,
don't know why, but that's kind of what I want.
it reminds me of what James Gunn did with Guardians of the Galaxy and the Suicide Squad, right? Where he introduces
Yes.
each character, if you look at the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, they're all introduced in scenes that are distinctly them. And then we get to see how these misfits come together, become a family unit, and that is why I think he's the best choice to run this DC universe because
Yes.
those themes of humanity, of family, of togetherness run deep throughout every section of the DC universe.
Right.
And so if he's the guy making the map, connecting the dots, I don't think there's anyone better. So I can totally see a world where the first few movies are Superman to reestablish the tone of the universe. You got to start with Superman, but then you just go into Trinity or Justice League or Titan. You can just start with a Titans movie. What if we meet some of these other characters? We meet Speedy first, and then we get introduced to Oliver after, right? Like
Bro.
that would be a cool way to
Yes.
go about it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Like I don't mind if the Nick Fury post credit scene occurs at the end of Blue Beetle. I'm okay with that.
Nightwing comes out of the shadows and he's like, "Hey, we got a team over at Titan's Tower if you want to join." And that's it. But
like he gets a postcard
yeah,
and when he turns it around it's a picture of the tower.
yeah, that would be amazing.
The fact that there's actually a tower that's a T.
That's a T. Yeah, so ridiculous. I love it. But if
Yes.
I were to add the three other members to the Justice League, I want a Justice League that is diverse, not just in racially, sexually. I want them to be a diverse group of powers too, right? Different. Like I want this team to be able to have a purpose. One of the reasons why the Superman family they don't interact that much together is because Connor, John, Kara, and Clark is just too OP, right? That doesn't really work out. So
And they all
I
have the
would
same powers.
right. So I think Black Canary definitely would be on my team. I think Vixen would be a really cool addition too, right? I think Vixen would be a great addition simply because we're getting more females on the team, which I hate that Wonder Woman is always
And
like
you're
this.
and you're adding an additional magic kind of user.
Right.
Right.
Because you could go Zatanna, but I think Zatanna would be a way better just on Justice League Dark, you know?
Yeah.
But like you can
Agreed.
also make a universe where they take the brave and the bold concept, right? And it's the core four, and then each movie is a different three with them. You can have Plastic Man
Yeah.
with them in a movie, but in the sequel it's Green
Yeah.
Arrow type of deal, right?
Right.
But Green Lantern, it would have to, you need a lantern. I feel like that they're instrumental to the Justice League. You need a lantern. Black Canary and Vixen, I think, would be the three that I would add with an optional, because I feel like Plastic Man's gonna happen. I just feel like he's weird enough for James Gunn to love him, and he's gonna end up there somehow.
Before, which lantern?
See, everybody's gonna say John Stewart, right? Purists are gonna
Right.
say Hal Jordan. I want to go with Jessica Cruz because to me, she's the most interesting of the lanterns for me. Hal Jordan has all the stories, he's got all the baggage, right, of everything that happened with him and Parallax and all that stuff in the comic books, and that is just too lore heavy if we're starting out there. I want, much like we've been talking about the entire time, using another character to introduce you to the greater world of Batman and Wonder Woman, of the Justice League. I think Jessica Cruz would be a perfect starter Green Lantern for me. Again, I'm also not the biggest Green Lantern fan, so the Hal Jordan fans are gonna get mad at me about that. But I think she's the most interesting out of all of the lanterns, in my opinion, because Kyle Rayner is an architect, right? And so he's very his use of the ring is very unique. It's very precise and deliberate. John Stewart is a military guy, so he has the great like battle experience and knowledge.
But
of
I think he's
how
also an engineer, if I'm not mistaken.
he is, and so it's like
So,
his
and that's
concept,
why he's also very particular too.
right. And Hal is the everyman, right? Where he's making baseball bats and machine
Tom
guns
Cruise.
and Gundams, and yeah, he's great. But Jessica, she gets the ring, and she's first like straddled by fear, and her having to overcome that, and her develop that willpower, right? And I think that just to me is a more interesting starting point, which is probably the entire point of her character. Is she's a great entry point to the world of the Green Lantern Corps. So that's who I would go with. What about you? Do you have a particular lantern that you're biased for?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. Going for the diversity pick, and I think I've always I kind of want to read his story too, but Simone Boz.
Yeah, I mean, him and Jessica are paired up half the time anyway. They might be a duo.
Right. So why not do? But and that's another thing. Why wouldn't our first Green Lantern movie be a team up Green Lantern movie? They
Has to be,
are
right?
right. They're a space comp group. Like they don't necessarily work solo all the time, and Earth has like 5 of them for some reason.
Didn't want to keep drawing squirrels and Kilowog all day, I guess. But
no, that's cool though. That's cool. Like if you're gonna do that, like I don't know why. Yeah, I kind of like. I think we both have cool choices for the league.
Yeah.
Like the ones you have to have. Like we said, there's an anchor there. If you have the Trinity, you have an anchor, and then you can just do whatever you want afterwards.
Right.
Or you can even, or maybe this league's already there, and the Hall of Justice. I don't know. Like, and the movie ends with as they're building the satellite.
Going back to the Justice League Unlimited aspect, right, of inspiration. What was the biggest theme in Justice League Unlimited as far as those characters, right? It's that the Watchtower exists, and for whatever mission, Martian Manhunter is assembling the perfect team to combat it. So you can just make Martian Manhunter the focal point, and he's like, hey, I need Flash, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern to handle this situation. Superman doesn't have to be there. That would be like, you don't do the first Justice League movie and not have Superman be there from the start again. We've done that.
Right.
Nobody cared for that idea.
But moving forward.
Right.
Yeah.
And that even allows you to make more of them because you don't need to clear the actors' schedules all the time.
But it's funny that you say that because once you do the first Justice League, right? And you really key in on the idea of this ever-growing group of heroes, there's no reason why you couldn't do an HBO Max series where you have that particular Martian Manhunter pitch. And like you do like every season is like 4 episodes. Each episode has a Game of Thrones budget, and it's all following different league teams doing different types of missions.
Yeah, because one of my favorite episodes of JLU, it's a team of Green Lantern, Supergirl, Wally West, and Captain Atom. And it's like, that is such a bizarre team. A movie's never going to do that. But if they make a series called like Brave and the Bold, and it's just that concept, genius. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the Chatter After Daily. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons. We're going to be talking Flash in the next video that's going to be going up sometime shortly after this one. We just cut it in half to make it easier to digest because it was a pretty long episode. But yeah, until next time, guys, keep watching movies, keep reading comics.